biggest learning lesson you've experienced while being a streamer?
I've taken it away from being a streamer is that you can't be shy. That's like to me that's number one. You've gotta treat every experience like there's 1,000 people watching you. So to not be shy, to always treat people like there's 1,000 people watching you. That's been the lesson that I've taken away because I'm a very introverted person. I am by definition introverted doesn't mean that I can't create good content.
You do need to like get out of your comfort zone and be as uh hyped and excited and just like out of yourself as much as you can be. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mind, Body, and Gaming, the Lotus 8 podcast. I'm CurlieQ, and with me today, I have one of our Lotus 8 content creators, Murtagb. Murtagb, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Murtagb. I am like Curly said, a content creator for Lotus 8. I primarily create FPS content, and yeah, that's who I am. Here I am.
All right, and today we're going to be recalling and talking about our experience at GameCon Canada, which we just got back from a couple weeks ago. But before we get into that, let's get to know Murtagb just a little bit. So, Murtagb, why don't you tell us about your earliest memory of gaming?
Yeah, geez, my earliest memories of gaming or my gaming journey kind of starts back on the NES console. Playing in what was our playroom at the time with my sister. Super Nintendo. Super Mario World actually was probably one of the first games that I ever played. Uh, and Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt is a fond memory as well. I played a lot of Duck Hunt with my sister, and a lot of my early gaming memories is with my sister. But I didn't really like get hardcore into gaming until the PlayStation 2 came out, which was in 2000. But I probably picked my first PlayStation up to in 2003, 2004. I'd started playing like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and then we got into like Star Wars Battlefront, and like those were some of the early games that I played a lot of.
I love that your very first video game experience was on the Nintendo. I mean, I feel like for a lot of gamers our age, that's kind of typical. For me, it was also the Nintendo. I don't know if you ever remember a game called Bubble Bobble. You had like this green dinosaur, blue dinosaur. It's kind of a little like puzzly game. You blow these bubbles out of your mouth and you trap enemies into the bubble, and then you got to pop the bubble to destroy the enemy. And then there's like little food that trickles down that you pick up and special items and stuff to like get points, and kind of like that classic like arcade game where you're mainly just playing for points, get a high
Yeah,
score.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that was my very first gaming experience with my mom. But then my brother, I have an older brother who very much shaped me partly into the gamer that I am today. My mom, big Nintendo fan. My brother, FPS shooters, or I mean, first person shooters is what I just said. FPS games, Resident Evil, horror games, action, thrilled games. So I kind of got like the best of both worlds with, my brother and my mom on that side of gaming. And so, yeah, that's really awesome. I love to hear that. So, what kind of games do you currently enjoy playing now? I know you mentioned your main focus with content creation is first person shooters. So, what kind of games fall into that category for you?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I pretty much solely live, breathe, and exist in the Call of Duty realm. It's the game I've been creating content on my entire content creation journey. Uh, but I enjoy playing a variety of things. Like I'm playing through Pokemon Scarlet right now on my Switch.
Oh,
I'm also replaying the original six Final Fantasies, also on my Switch. So like I enjoy a variety of different games. You get me on a good round of Tetris every once in a while. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of all over the map with the games that I enjoy playing. I'd like to play more new hot releases. Like
Mhm.
I'd love to play Expedition 33.
Yes.
Yeah, like there's so many games I'd love to play. But with being a content creator, I mean, Call of Duty is kind of where it's at for me. Splitgate is one I'm interested in, being in the FPS genre.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now for games.
Yeah, I think, I mean, as content creators, it's definitely more ideal to, focus on one kind of genre or even one kind of game. It's hard when, you're a variety gamer, you like to play all sorts of stuff, but when it comes to stream, like especially if you want to grow with streaming, you do have to kind of be a little bit more particular on what you do stream. And so I'm learning that the hard way. I'm trying to make it as a Nintendo variety streamer. For a while there, I was kind of hopping around from so many different games that didn't really like correlate with each other. I went from Black Myth Wukong to Silent Hill 2 remake to Expedition 33, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So definitely a lot of RPGs in there. But then you see my background, the Nintendo. I'm
Hmm.
a big fan of Nintendo, so kind of realized I needed to niche down and have a little bit of a focus. And so I'm still trying to make it work with the variety, but now as a Nintendo variety streamer. But yeah, so do you have a most memorable gaming experience at any point in your life, whether it's on stream, off stream?
Yeah, so my by far my most memorable gaming experience actually is predating the popularity of multiplayer games. But my friend and I, we used to sit there and talk on the phone on the landline and play the exact same game at the same time,
Oh.
like all night long. We'd be on the phone for 12, 13 hours just chatting, and I'd have to swap in the cordless phones just to make sure that we could keep talking. And that kind of shaped the core of how I view gaming. And I built my social circles around gaming, and some of my best friends that I've ever engaged with are all online gaming friends. And so that kind of core memory sits closely to me, predating the multiplayer experience.
I love that. Yeah, I remember when gaming started to be more multiplayer and having those online features. Being able to VC with people in a game. I was actually just talking to my community the other day. I was like, "Can you guys believe that like there used to be a world where, we always would VC in game, and nowadays it's all about Discord. Like you always VC with your friends now in game, but in a Discord VC channel, and it's
Yep.
just like it's kind of wild how much gaming has changed in such a like small amount of time, but really neat how easy it is now to be able to just message our friends to be like, hey, like you getting on tonight at 8 p.m., let's play, repo, let's play Call of Duty, whatever. And then just being able to get into VC and just chat with everyone while you're playing video games. It's no longer over the phone or even in game
Hmm.
nowadays, so it's really neat how much that's changed. So let's get into your streaming journey. So how long have you been streaming? You already told me about what kind of games you do stream.
Hmm.
But go ahead and let me know if there's like anything you're looking forward to streaming anytime soon.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm in year 4 of streaming now. This would be my fourth year, starting into the content creator journey. And like I said, it's all been Call of Duty. It's all been first person shooters. I mean, the first person shooter genre is a little bit dry at the moment. It's a fact of the genre is that if you're not playing Call of Duty, you're not playing anything popular at the moment. I mean, Splitgate has some traction. I'm actually really excited to see what Battlefield does with their next BR genre, if they can execute on a BR. With what's happening in the first person shooter market right now, I think they have a really good opportunity to come out with something that gamers are really looking forward to, kind of a back to the basics sort of BR experience. So that's kind of what I'm forward looking to in my lane right now. um I would long term like to spin up a variety channel offshooting from my primary content, just doing game reviews. That's kind of a long term goal of mine to be able to touch on just any genre just as a fun project.
Yeah, no, I think that would be really cool. Especially I think that'd be really cool for your community too, since they're so used to you playing FPS games. And I feel like most gamers nowadays, like you don't just play one game or one genre. Many of us are, variety gamers, and then of course being streamers where you do have like that central focus. I think it's nice whenever streamers allow themselves to be able to open up and connect with others about other games. And so I'm sure your community would absolutely love that. Um, so, what has been the biggest learning lesson you've experienced while being a streamer?
The biggest lesson I've learned and the biggest thing that I've taken it away from being a streamer is that you can't be shy. That's like to me that's number one. You've got to treat every experience like there's 1,000 people watching you.
Mm-hmm.
And also not to focus too much on the numbers. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it can be disheartening when you're streaming to one or two people or two or three people or whatever. But honestly, thinking about being in a room, if you post a video out, if you post a VOD and it gets 100 views, now imagine us talking in front of 100 people, because that's basically what just happened to you. You just had 100 people looking at you. And for a lot of people, public speaking is their biggest fear. So to not be shy, to always treat people like there's 1,000 people watching you, that's been the biggest, I think, learning curve and lesson that I've taken away, because I'm a very introverted person. I'll sit in a room and I will take in everything that's going around me, and I will not say a word, and I'll have the best time of my life. That's just the kind of person that I am. And to understand that just because I am by definition introverted doesn't mean that I can't create good content. And I think that's a really important thing that a lot of people miss out on, and a lot of people could be successful in this kind of a realm. But they miss that mark because they're just like, oh, well, I'm too shy, I'm too introverted. And it's just repetition, repetition, you know?
Oh my gosh, that spoke to me on such a personal level because I am also very introverted and very shy myself. And that's kind of why I love streaming is I feel like I'm definitely more extroverted with streaming. But there are those times when I get into my head where I'm like, I'm too quiet, I'm too shy, I'm not energetic enough. I mean, a lot of us see like those, really popular big streamers who are so like they just have so much energy that I wish I could absorb through the screen. And I wish I could be that way. But at the end of the day, I mean, yes, you do need to like get out of your comfort zone and be as uh hyped and excited and just like out of yourself as much as you can be. But also at the same time, don't let it discourage you if you are like me and Murtagb, where you are very introverted and shy. I think streaming provides a space for you to learn how to get out of that bubble. And so a lot of people are really surprised whenever I tell them like, yeah, I'm like super introverted and shy. They're like, no, you're not. Like you're so outgoing and bubbly on stream. And I don't know what it is. Stream just brings out a different side of me that, I wish I could be like that like all the time. Um, but yeah, don't get discouraged. I feel like there's an audience for everyone. In fact, some of my community members have told me, like, some people don't like those super
Hmm.
loud, energetic, hyped up streamers. Some of them do like those cozy, chill, laid back vibes. So, you just kind of, I mean, definitely like don't sit there streaming and not say a single word because you're shy and introverted, but do allow yourself to be you, but also try to get out of your comfort zone, try to get out of that little bubble that you put yourself in. Fully relate to that so much because I mean I can go anywhere with anyone and just sit there and just observe the people, observe my surroundings, and I don't even need to say much and I'll still have a really great time. um so, what advice would you give to other people who want to get into streaming the same kind of games that you do?
Honestly, it would be just start. Don't go out and buy a bunch of equipment. Don't upgrade anything that you have right now. if you have a console, a PlayStation, or an Xbox, you can start streaming and creating content straight to Twitch, really cheaply on a laptop. You download CapCut, free app, or on your phone even. CapCut, it's free. You can edit your videos. You don't need the big productions. Don't set yourself up to think you need to be the next iShowSpeed or Kai Cenat or any of these streamers, or Mr. Beast if you want to make YouTube videos. Like, you don't need to be spending a ton of money to create quality content. If you're true to yourself, you'll build an audience of people that are true to you, and that will follow you into any game that you decide to play or any genre you decide to make the switch into, and that's going to create a community that's longer lasting than any of these big creators that if they all of a sudden turned their stream qualities down, they stopped spending money on their streams, and they just went out and vibed. A lot of those people aren't going to stick with them because they're not there for them. They're there for
Mhm.
the entertainment value that they're creating. And I think that anybody can create entertainment value without going into copious amounts of debt.
No, definitely agree. I mean, I know people come into my streams and they see my lighting, they see my background, they see my camera quality, and what people don't realize is that I didn't start with all of this stuff. And you don't see the stuff on my desk either, but I didn't always have a stream deck. I didn't always have a fancy mic. I didn't always have all these decorations. I didn't always have I have three monitors because I have tabs open for days.
Same.
You start off small and then
Hmm.
you slowly build yourself up. And I will say, as a small streamer, don't hesitate to put a dono bar on your stream to raise money for
Hmm.
things that you want for your stream setup. You would actually be really surprised at how many people actually want to help small streamers grow in this space and help them get the equipment that they need in order to provide better, higher quality streams. So start with what you can, go from there. Don't hesitate to have donation bars for, getting
Hmm.
equipment and
100%.
whatnot. Yeah, and you also mentioned earlier about numbers and streaming like as if 1,000 people are watching you. And I think what a lot of people don't realize with numbers is that they look at their viewership and they see like 2, 3, 5, whatever, and you're thinking in your mind like, I have 5 people watching me. And then you look at that number again 20 minutes later, you're like, I have 5 people watching me. And same over and over and over again. What you don't realize, because like that number refreshes every so often, what you don't realize is that people are clicking in and out, in and out, in and out. And so that average viewership number, I hate looking at it because I don't feel like
Hmm.
it's an accurate depiction of how many people are actually genuinely like looking at your content. And so when you look at like how many like not the average viewership, but how many people have clicked into your channel, that number like will blow your mind. You'll have hundreds of people who click into your channel. Sure, you didn't have hundreds of people watching your stream at one point, but in that segment, you did. And so
Hmm.
you really have to like be good about like this is why we say, get out of your bubble and talk and be involved, with your community and stuff because when people are coming into your channel, they you need to grab their attention like right then and then. And so
Hmm.
if you're just sitting there playing your game and you're not talking about what you're doing or what you're going to do for the weekend or welcoming people into your channel, people are just going to like click right off. And so I think like with the bigger picture is you see how many people click into your channel and the goal is to try to get them to stay. And so if you feel like you have a lot of people clicking into your channel but your average viewership is a little bit lower, then maybe that says something about like what you're doing while you're streaming. Maybe you're not yapping enough. Maybe you're not talking about your gameplay enough or what you're
Hmm.
doing. It feels really weird at first. It's like you have to talk to yourself almost as a small streamer. We've all been there. Um, but eventually people will start talking back to you.
Hmm.
So, just keep on doing it, be yourself. Um, just treat it like it's a normal gaming session, but always imagine that there's people there watching you, listening to you. And especially because not everyone on Twitch is a chatter. I feel like majority of Twitch viewers are actually like lurkers. And
I'm pretty sure the
so
stats say that's the case. Yeah.
exactly. And so even if like you feel like you're talking to yourself, you're not. there's people there that are listening, and so just always keep that in the back of your mind. Like you never know who is listening to you.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add too is that I feel like people forget that like you have a certain capacity that you have the ability to go out and create your content. If you've only got 2 hours of energy in you and by 2.5 hours you're like, I'm just toast, like don't stream for 4 hours. Stop
Hmm.
at the 2 hour mark. If you could reutilize some of that energy to put it towards making videos to bring
Yeah.
more people into your streams, then do it. And don't get locked into a platform either. Don't lock yourself into Twitch. Make sure you're making YouTube videos, make sure you're putting out TikToks. Post to Instagram, post your reels, post to Facebook, even though I'm sure people hearing this are going to be like, how old is this guy that he's saying post on Facebook? But like, there are still people there. There are still
Yep.
people connecting with their families there that are going to see your content. And then the chance that they'll potentially come over to your Twitch stream is that much more high. So that's another thing that I always recommend is don't lock yourself in on any one platform.
Yeah, that's something that I'm working on myself. Like even like I've been in this space for over 6 years, and like I know I should be posting on other platforms, but I wasn't taking it seriously until just just recently. Um I would just go live on Twitch and then I would post on Twitter. And that was really it. I do think it's good to start, like, because trying to utilize so many different social apps can be very overwhelming. And so I do think it's not a bad idea to get into the swing of having a regular scheduled Twitch stream and then posting on a social media site that you're live or sharing your content, so like get consistent with what you can manage, and then once you get used to that, start adding more on, start posting on YouTube, start posting on Blue Sky, on TikTok, Facebook, wherever you can. There's apps to help with that too. The app that I like to use is Buffer, and so you can like go and schedule multiple posts to different social networks, and just with the push of a button, send them all out to every single social platform. Done. Easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely take that into consideration, because that is huge for growth. I tell every streamer that I talk to about streaming, unfortunately, nowadays, it is not enough to just go live. Streaming is saturated. There's a lot of streamers out there, and you really have to put in the work to try to set yourself apart if growing as a streamer is something that you're interested in.
And if you're playing any kind of popular game too, and Twitch is your primary streaming platform, there's no discoverability on Twitch unless you have
Yeah.
viewership. So you'll
Yeah.
you'll if you're playing a popular game, if you're on the cusp and you're always playing the newest, absolute newest thing before anybody else is, you maybe have a chance. But like in my realm in the Call of Duty area, unless I have 100+ viewers, I'm not even going to be on the first 30 pages of the Twitch scroll. So if I'm not posting on other platforms, I'm just missing out on viewership.
Yeah, no, totally agreed. So let's get into the main topic for today. I am so excited to talk about GameCon Canada. We just came back from GameCon Canada a few weeks ago, as I mentioned at the start of stream. By the time this episode comes out, it'll probably be like a month and a couple of weeks, but the excitement is still there. I'm still reminiscing on my time at GameCon Canada. It is my absolute favorite weekend of the year. Me and my significant other, we don't really get the opportunity to go on vacations and stuff because his work is so needy, and it's really hard for him to take time off. So we view going to GameCon Canada as our vacation time. We budget for it. We plan on spending quite a bit at the vendors and stuff. But it is the time of my life, and I am so excited to get into this topic with you. So GameCon Canada has been around for 3 years now. It is the largest gaming convention in Canada, and every single year it has been growing. I've only been a part of year 2 and year 3, but Murtagb here has been a part of every single GameCon Canada. So, very excited for this first question for you. So, GameCon Canada's been around for 3 years now, and you were a part of year 1. So, what was GameCon Canada like year 1, and how does it compare to year 3?
It's almost not even the same conference at this point. So uh I discovered, just to give a little bit of backstory, I discovered GameCon Canada the year before COVID started, because that was originally going to be their year one launch. I guess the year of COVID was going to be their year one launch, but obviously because of that, nothing happened because all events were shut down during that period.
Mhm.
So they came onto my radar quite a few years ago, and then I was able to connect with Mark and Chris. P.S. The biggest superstars of GameCon is Mark and Chris. Regardless of how many celebrities there are, they are number one in my opinion. And so I was able to connect with them coming into the year one of GameCon, which was 3 years ago, and it was in Calgary, Alberta at the time. It was at the BMO Center, and like it was still big. Like it was bigger than any of the events that I had been to previously, excluding things like Comic Con or Fan Expo. Like those are highly established events.
Right.
But for a year one conference to have Monster as a sponsor, to have that mega stage, like not anything like it was in year two or year three, but they still had a mega stage that was sponsored by who was last year's sponsor? I can't remember.
For the
Memory
stage?
Express. Memory
Right, yeah.
Express. To have a mega stage sponsored by Memory Express, to have they probably had close to 100 vendors. They had the free play tabletop area, and that's probably one of the biggest changes over the years has been their free play gaming areas. Not only for the gaming, but for the tabletop side of things too. They've really adapted how they handle those free plays over the years, which has been really good. But to look back at tiny year one compared to year three has been massive. The foot traffic, the vendors, everything has changed so much year over year. And something that I've really appreciated though is that the vendors, like the core vendors that you saw last year, were probably also there year one. The vendor support system has been really good, and it's been really good to see the same game developers come back year over year, the same vendors, the same shops. Like it's been a really community driven experience. And it's just bar none. I don't think there's any event that can top what they're doing.
No, you're so right about that. GameCon Canada has been one of the best conventions that I've ever gotten to attend. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because it's centered around gaming and it attracts gamers from all different backgrounds. And I find that like I definitely have encountered people who do seem I think gamers are kind of known for being introverts and having social anxiety, that sort of personality. And I just find it so easy to be able to strike up conversations with anybody. You're
Mhm,
waiting in line to try out a demo, and you just talk to them about gaming. We're all there because we have a common passion for gaming.
mhm,
And it's really neat how GameCon Canada, like, it's not just about video games, but they also have a very heavy influence on tabletop games. And I'm not talking like Uno and Cards Against Humanity, like D&D. It was really neat to see how many just tabletop RPG stuff that they had
mhm,
going on, like a whole section dedicated to tabletop gaming. And I think for me, like I never realized how big tabletop gaming
mhm.
is until I went to
100%.
GameCon Canada. It's insane. I've always known about, D&D and stuff, but like didn't realize how celebrated it was, how big it was. And so GameCon Canada is just really cool because it attracts everyone from various different backgrounds of gaming and brings them into one space. And
Mhm,
it's just, like I said, it's just the vibes there are just immaculate. You could be the most social anxious person in that area in that expo center and still be able to, like get out of your bubble and talk to people and just feel like I don't know, just feel like you're a part of something. The vibes at GameCon Canada are amazing. It's just so great to be a gamer and to be in an environment surrounded by other gamers where we're all just there because we love video games or tabletop games or games.
mhm.
Um,
Absolutely. And I think
So
so much of that comes back to who's running the event.
yeah.
Like to know that Mark and Chris are just huge nerds who love gaming, and that's why this event exists. And that's why this event continues to grow and is so popular, is because they're in there putting in the footwork, and doing what they think is best for all of our nerdom. Like I think
Mhm.
that shines through so much, especially when you compare it to things like Fan Expo, which isn't a gaming specific event, but it's within the same niche ish.
Yeah.
And the amount of decisions that get made at an expo like that, where it's big corporate driven event, versus something like GameCon Canada, where you're having a local company deal with Canadian gaming and Canadian gamers, and thinking about gaming as a whole, and bringing all the people together into one arena, like you said, just a community of people who are all just on the same wavelength and on the same vibe. It's a whole different experience.
It is. So if you guys are ever in the area, I believe it's going to be in Edmonton, Alberta again next year around the same time. It's usually around the middle of June, though that could change. They do have a website, gameconcanada.com,
Yes, .com.
gameconcanada.com. Just, keep checking out that website as it gets closer. They'll update dates and ticket pricing, all that kind of stuff. And they also talk about everything that they do throughout the event, all of the sponsors, all of the vendors, all the fun things that they have planned, D&D game nights, and the cosplay competition. Oh my gosh, the
Mm.
cosplay aspect of GameCon Canada is huge. I can't wait to get into that conversation. But yeah, definitely check out the website to keep in touch, because it's an event that I want to get all of my gamer friends to.
Mhm.
Um,
And
so
join their Discord as well. Sorry to jump in there. Join the GameCon
no,
Canada
perfect.
Discord as well, because there's so much resources and information, and the ability to just ask the questions inside that Discord. The admins, the moderators, everybody's watching, looking for that feedback inside that Discord. So like when you're speaking, you're heard, which is nice.
Yeah, and you should be able to find a link to their Discord through their website. Just take a browse through there, and I'm sure you'll find it. So, what was your most memorable moment at this year's GameCon Canada?
By far. So I attended the Purple Worm Kill 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 on, it was Saturday that the actual event took place. Um I've, disclaimer, I've never played D&D. Uh, I've watched a little bit, I've seen a little bit of Critical Role, watched a little bit of I can't remember the name of the Amazon series, but TV shows about D&D. And so like I enjoy the concept of D&D. I'm reading a book that's kind of D&D based. And to go into that show like environment and watch Mark, Avery, Nora, and Jason interact on stage. It was by far one of the funniest and most interesting experiences I've ever gotten to see. And to see the rawness that was uh in them as they acted and they talked about things and they got personal. Like it was just a really good experience, and I would highly recommend, if anyone has a chance, to watch the Purple Worm Kill Kill Kills. I believe they're on Tubi if you're in Canada, so you can actually watch those events. Yeah, that was probably by far my most memorable experience.
I had a feeling you were gonna say that, because whenever you got out of seeing the D&D sesh, you seemed so excited, and
Mhm.
you had nothing but positive things to say. And I'll be asking you this question here soon, but that was actually my biggest regret, was not going to see the Purple Worm, because like I said, I heard really great things about it. And going to GameCon Canada has actually had me really interested in D&D and the TTRPG aspect of the video gaming realm.
Hmm.
So just like you, like I don't really have much background with D&D. I think the closest thing that I've gotten to D&D is watching Stranger Things. And also I played a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3. I really liked it, but when I started it, I didn't really have the time to dedicate to Baldur's
Hmm.
Gate 3. So I do want to go back to it because I think the gameplay was like really cool. It was cool to have that D&D aspect into a video game. But yeah, that's the most D&D experience that I have, but going to GameCon Canada and seeing how much of an emphasis they have on the TTRPG um background with gaming definitely intrigues my interest. And it's really cool thing to look into. So I wish I had gone to that. It seemed really neat. But as Murtagb said, definitely check it out on Tubi. Because it seemed like everyone that went enjoyed it and
Hmm.
had a really great time.
I've come home with a dice set from GameCon Canada every single year, and I've still never played D&D. So that just tells you how like the communities there are and how it is to just be around people like that. It's amazing.
I made a comment. I think I made this comment towards Verge, one of our other content creators. I said it to someone. I was like, man, like there are so many vendors here with really cool dice for sale. I don't even play D&D, but I really, really want to pick up a set. Like
Hmm.
really cool stuff, custom made dice, like just so many phenomenal designs. Like just looking at them as I'm passing by, I'm like, I don't even play D&D and I really want this right now.
Hmm.
And that's one thing that I really loved about GameCon Canada. If you plan on going, highly recommend like having a GameCon Canada fund and just putting into that fund all throughout the year, because I promise you when you go to GameCon Canada, you're gonna want to leave with a bunch of stuff. I did leave with a bunch of stuff and a tattoo on my arm as well. That was pretty cool. I think this was one of my most memorable experience aside from the whole event, because the whole event
Hmm.
is just such a trip. And I almost wanted to answer this question and be like, I don't have a most memorable moment because I love the whole thing, but I feel like that's kind of lame to say.
Yeah.
But I have one other tattoo on my shoulder. It's not noticeable. No one really ever sees it because I'm mostly wearing t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. And so this was my very first like visible tattoo, and it's so cool because like I keep looking down, like I did that. It's funny because we were setting up Thursday at GameCon Canada, and me and my significant other, we, would walk around and look at all the vendors setting up and just kind of getting an idea of like what we're going to experience for the days to come. And so we saw the tattoo booths, and Mr. Q was like, I'm gonna get a tattoo. And so he starts like flipping through one of the tattoo artist books and stuff. And he came to the conclusion that he wanted to get a Samus on his arm. He also has Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I can't remember which one. I'm so sorry. But he has one of the Ninja Turtles on his other arm. And so him wanting to get a tattoo, I was kind of like, huh. Do I want to get a tattoo too? Very spontaneous because both of us only have one tattoo. Like we're not like, we don't have a bunch of tattoos all over the place, right? So it was super spontaneous, and then him wanting to get one got me excited to get one, and so I started flipping through the book, and I saw one of the pixel hearts, and I'm like, I want the Legend of Zelda heart HP bar, but one of them is halfway filled. So like the idea just like came to me instantly, and I'm like, I'm gonna get it. I actually wanted it a lot smaller, but I am very happy with how it turned out because I was like, I don't like to commit to things sometimes. Like I'm a very indecisive person, and with this tattoo that I have, it's a memorial tattoo for my mom that says "I live to let you shine." And I like wish I got it when I was 18. I was like, I have $100. I want to go get a tattoo. And so I wish I would have like spent a little bit more time thinking about it and had gotten something a little bit
Hmm.
more like artistic. And so yeah, like I have a hard time committing to things that are like super duper permanent. But like this, I didn't think twice about. I was like, I want it. I'm happy with the size and everything, and I'm a really big Legend of Zelda fan, and so now I'm thinking like, well, next GameCon Canada, what am I gonna get this time? So I'm already thinking about like how I can add on to it, and just getting
Mhm.
excited about getting tattoos at GameCon Canada every single year. And then of course, like there's so many lovely artists. I'm not gonna grab it, but I bought two pieces of art from two games that I really, really love. One is Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda, and it's Zelda in her Zonai outfit, and she's in a boat, and it's like this beautiful fall setting, and she's in a boat on a river. It's phenomenal. And then the other one is a it's Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. I'm a big Final Fantasy VII nerd. I love Final Fantasy VII ever since I discovered it. Aerith is my absolute favorite character, and it's Cloud standing on a cliff looking out to the sky, and behind him his sword is like it's in like the rock of the cliff, and then on the handlebar it has Eris ribbon. And as soon as I saw that, like I saw Eris ribbon on his sword, I'm like, that's it. Like I have to get that one. It was two for $50, so like it was pretty good, and it's
Mhm.
handmade art. You can see my crochet maple plushie that I have down here too from Animal Crossing. That was probably one of my favorite buys from GameCon Canada. So I just get so excited for all of the merch, the art,
Mhm.
the all the different things that you can buy at GameCon Canada. It's an exciting time. So if you plan on going to GameCon Canada, definitely plan on bringing extra money to spend, because you're not going to be able to resist.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out too that like yes, there's a tons of things to buy, and there's a lot of money that can be spent there so easily. But GameCon does such a phenomenal job of making sure there are so many included events within your ticket purchase
Hmm.
that like the coin quest for an example, like that took all day Friday for us to almost all day Friday for us to complete the coin quest. And by far one of the most interactive things I've seen at an event period ever, to go around and collect all there was 12 coins on the floor, and then you got a special 13th coin if you completed the quest. And it was riddles, and you got to interact with different vendors and post things on social media, and like it was a really good free thing you could do that you come home with some memorabilia from. All of the main stage events that they put on, the game demos, all the devs that are available, they're offering
Hmm.
free play sessions. Like there's so many great things just to not scare people off
Yeah.
who are like, I'm broke, I can barely afford the ticket. Still, like, buy the ticket and go. There's so many
Yeah.
things and so much fun to be had.
Yeah. Year one, we didn't spend as much as we did year two.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I can agree that there are tons of free things to participate in. There's also like the after hours gaming, which was really cool this year. They had a ton of pinball machines set up, and a lot of them were so iconic. There was a Star Wars Mandalorian one, there was a Stranger Things one, Jaws, The Walking Dead, like a lot of very popular TV shows and movies that were inspired into some of these pinball machines, and that was really cool. I know we spent some time in that pinball area, and we actually spent quite a few hours in that area. It was so much fun, and also very busy too. Like it was definitely a place that a lot of people like to go and hang out and stuff. And then of course they also have they had like computers set up,
Mhm.
to play like Fortnite and Valorant and stuff as well. So like there's, the main event, tons of stuff going on stage that you get to watch at any point. I mean, even walking around was just fun. Like just walking around and looking at everything was really exciting. I mean, I say that as an introvert. We talked earlier about how, we could
Mhm.
just be hanging out in a room and barely say anything and still have a good time. And so even walking around GameCon Canada and just people watching and just checking things out is also an experience as well. And then you've got the after hours stuff too. And you never know who you'll meet too. Like you might meet someone that you end up getting together with during the after hours gaming and just having a nice sesh with some homies
Mhm.
or some new people that you met. So Yeah, tons of fun stuff to do for money and for free.
And the after hours gaming, that's something that I want to talk about too. Just that is by far, in my opinion, where I see the most improvement year over year from year one to year three is in their after hours gaming. Year one, it was like nothing. Like there were some computers set up, but I don't think I saw more than 3 people hanging out. Year two, they added like a Valorant skirmish, and that brought more people to sit and hang out. Plus, they had the free play area. Um, and then year three, now they were inviting people up on stage to play the Fall Guys games. They had Smash Bros on one side, they had free play computers on the other side, and like there's just plus the pinball machines and the brew house and like just all these things that they're doing to improve those after hours games so you can get the most out of your experience there. It's been a really great thing to watch.
Yeah, and I hope those after hour gaming sessions do get better every. I'm sure they will because even from my experience from year 2 to year 3, I could already see massive improvement. It was really cool because me and Verge were able to get on the main stage during one of the after hours nights, and we were able to play Fall Guys like on the main stage. It was so cool. We were right next to each other, and there was one point where she actually it was me and her in the final, and I didn't realize that it was just me and her. And Verge ended up winning, and I look over at Verge, and I'm like, I lost. And she's like, I won. She starts standing up, and I'm like, wait, that was you? And so she got to go to. They had like this one PC that was like in the middle of both teams, and that middle person was like the champion or whatever. So she got
King of
to
the
go
hill kind
and
of thing, yeah.
yeah, it's a king of the hill sort of thing, and it was really really fun. Even if it was for just a little bit. And like it's so easy to get into that. Like the after hours time, it wasn't as populated as you would think, but that's definitely going to change over the years. So like
Hmm.
I mean, you got a ticket and you want to do some fun stuff in after hours. It's not like you're going to have to like wait a long time to get a spot or whatever. Like it's very open um and still really fun to participate in. So, what was your biggest regret or something that you would want to do differently next year?
I think I don't think I have any regrets. I think I accomplished pretty much everything I set out to do this year. Um, but what I would 100% do differently is I would actually spend a little bit more time pre-planning my vendor interactions before the event started. Um, I like to plan things. I am a little ADHD and I get lost in everything that goes on. So for me, the app that GameCon puts out with the map and the vendor lists and all of that, like that really helps me narrow down how I'm going to get the most out of this event.
Yeah.
And obviously, being a content creator, I'm not going there just to be like, "Hey, I'm having a good time." Like, there's a lot, like I have business purpose to attend the event, and I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I make specific connections with previous people that I've started to build relationships with, and game devs and other places where it makes sense to try and plant some content seeds. So like I always go very intentionally into these events. And I underestimated how much bigger it was going to be this year, and so more pre-planning is 100% what I would say. Um, and then yeah, and then I also missed a couple of main stage things that I wanted to see just due to timing and stuff like that, and a big part of that was my lack of planning.
Yeah, no, I kind of relate to that as well. I mentioned earlier, I think my biggest regret is that I didn't go to the Purple Worm Kill D&D sesh. I wish I would have attended that. Next year I will definitely be looking into some of those after hour things and getting a ticket for it for sure. But yeah, that app that they have, so it's a mobile app. It's so awesome. I'm a charity streamer for GameCon Canada, so like I have my own booth, and so I have like this profile where I have, my profile picture, logo, and description, and I get to like tell people like what times I'm going to be at my booth, what to expect, what I'm there for, stuff like that. And it's the same for all the other vendors. Though not everyone utilizes it. Hopefully, throughout the years, more will start to utilize their little vendor profile. But it's really cool. It's an interactive map, and you get to kind of see the names of all the companies, and some of them have descriptions about what they're all about, what
Mhm.
what they're selling, what they're doing. And so leading up to the weekend of the event, you can go and click on different things and see where you want to go, what you want to check out, and just kind of get a feel for what's all going to be available for you to experience. So yeah, I think I'm the same way. I think I would like to go into next year a little bit more organized, more informed
Mhm.
about all the things that are taking place. Also, the cosplays. Um, I am such a wannabe cosplayer. I've done a few very amateur cosplays. I think cosplaying is just a really cool, creative way to express your love of video
Mhm.
games, and especially for a certain video game character. And so I'm so inspired whenever I see all the cosplays. And so I think maybe next year I might try to cosplay as something for a day. I'm not going to enter into the competition, but for the competition, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. I wish I had pictures to show. I have like two pictures that I took with a few cosplayers. But I wish I would have taken more pictures. But for the competition, I don't know if you're familiar with the exact percentage, but in order to enter into the cosplay competition, the cosplays have to be mostly handmade. I want to say it's like 90% handmade or something like that. Do you
It
remember?
the rules vary depending on the level in which you're competing. So like I believe the like grant the masters or whatever they call it. Because I think they had novice, journeyman, masters, and then best of the best.
Mhm.
Novice, I've just pulled it up. So novice, 50% has to be contestant made for novice. And that's the you've never won a major award or competition in the cosplay industry. You're probably your first competition that you're ever entering. That's novice. But then immediately once you jump to journeyman, where you've won one or two best in or first place awards, it jumps to 70% made by the contestant, and the masters and best of the best had to be 85% made by the contestant, which is kind of wild when you think like depending on your costume, the shoes that you wear could be enough to be like, well, there's my 25% of my costume or 15% or whatever it is my shoes. So now literally everything else has to be handmade. There are some phenomenal cosplays that have come every single year.
Yeah. No, just the absolute best cosplays that I've seen. Like, I don't even know where to begin. I remember I was sitting at my booth, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Hmm.
Not Darth Vader,
There was a Darth Maul that was walking
Darth
around that was an
Maul, yeah.
amazing. Yep.
So I'm sitting at my booth, and I look to the right. I don't know why. I'm probably just like looking around, ADHD. And I see these three cosplayers turn the corner, and instantly I was like, wow. The Obi-Wan Kenobi looked straight
Like
out of one of the
just straight out of,
movies.
yep.
It
Looked like
was
Ben Kenobi, just
so
so good.
cool. It was so freaking cool. And they saw my reaction, and so they walked up to my booth and they were like, "Do you want a picture?" I'm like, "Yes." So cool. Like I mean, it's almost kind of like you're meeting the real people
Hmm.
from those
100%.
video
Yep.
games or movies or TV shows and stuff. Like, it's such a cool experience. And like that wasn't even the most mind-blowing cosplay that I saw. Like some of these people just, they get so creative. I saw like a repo android character, like that
Yep,
their
yep.
head was a repo character. And then some of them, I think I want to say they're like Warhammer
The Warhammer
cosplays.
suits, the yeah,
They're
the yeah.
ginormous. They are huge. And like knowing that they're X amount percentage handmade is just
Mhm.
mind blowing. Like you're watching like walking art. It's incredible. And
I've
it's
talked to
very
the
inspiring.
creators of some of those Space Marine costumes for the Warhammer ones. And
Hmm.
like, yeah, it's all hand carved, foam, hand painted. Like, it's just mind blowing. Last year, I got to see because that trio won, I believe, the best in show last year, and I got to see them in the after hours gaming down in the like arena when they had the arena open last year, where the free play area was, because they had a booth down there, and you got to go walk up and see the costume, and like it's super light, but it's not very light at the same time.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
so intricate and so cool, and it's really inspiring to see. I agree.
Yeah. So, my last question for this podcast, we have been yapping longer than I thought we would be yapping, but that's always a good thing. So last question, if you could change anything about GameCon Canada, what would it be and why?
I think if I was to change anything about GameCon Canada, it would be the promotion of the after hours events. I think there's so much potential in the after hours to just be amazing, but I feel like so many people don't realize that they're happening. And
Mm-hmm.
by once they start shutting things down and closing the wall dividers off, and then I just feel like there's a loss in translation there where people are just like, oh, it's over, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
I think the community of people that would hang out for something like that would just be amazing.
Yeah, kind of same answer here. I love that you said the promotion of after hours gaming because for me, I feel like that's really the only area that GameCon Canada needs to work on is that after hours because there is an interest there. It's just like you said, I don't think a lot of people realize that that's actually a thing.
Hmm.
Because I mean, even for the Fall Guys night, like I'm sure there would be so many kids, even adults who would hear about how they could go on the main stage to play Fall Guys for a couple rounds, and I'm sure that would be packed.
Hmm.
Um, there was a very small participation for that little event. And so me and Verge were on the main stage pretty much the whole time because there weren't a lot of people who wanted to participate in it. And so there wasn't like any rotation going on. So it was like if
Yeah.
you wanted to play, then you're basically on the stage the whole time. And so, yeah, there's definitely room for growth. I do think them adding the pinball aspect to
Helped
after
a
hours
lot.
gaming was awesome.
Hmm.
So cool cuz last year the coolest thing that we did during the after hours gaming was Mr. Q got to compete on the main stage for one of the Valorant scrimmages that they did, which
Hmm.
was really cool. I don't play Valorant though, so for me it was kind of just a social opportunity. Like me and Verge just like hung out and supported the guys who were a part of the Valorant scrimmage on the main stage. And yeah, like we didn't really get into much. It was just we were just kind of hanging out, enjoying the vibes,
Yeah,
which
this is the same
as
experience for
introverts,
me last year.
yeah, we don't mind. It's just there is so much potential for the after
Hmm.
hours gaming. And so hopefully if anyone from GameCon Canada is listening to this and they're like, wow, I didn't know there was an after hours gaming portion. Well, I'm sure 2026 is going to be even better. So definitely make sure if you end up getting a weekend pass, do check out those after hour gaming sessions because they are very, very fun. Even if you're just there to socialize, it was a really great time.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely amazing, and there's so much like you said, so much potential in the after hours, and I know Mark and Chris are listening to feedback, and
Mhm.
like we know, just gonna call out a few people here. Jeff and Josh, like they're always on the floor, amazing group. Like they're such a tight knit group of people. All the people on the front end staff who were doing the customer service and the administration, like everyone is so genuine and easy to deal with. It's mind blowing that an event can be this big, but still that homely at the same time.
Mhm.
And I just there's so much still potential in it, and I just think we're at the tip of the iceberg for GameCon.
Absolutely. Well, I think that is a really great way to conclude our conversation about GameCon Canada. Shout out to everyone, all the sponsors, the volunteers, and the staff that put the event together. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, it is seriously the weekend of my life. I enjoy it so much being in a gaming environment with a bunch of people who just all share the same passion for gaming as I do. It's an incredible time, and I look forward to it every year. I have convention blues, even several weeks after the fact. So looking back at, the pictures and the videos that I took, it's like, oh my God, that was such a great time. Like, I can't believe it's over. Like, they're even packing up my booth and stuff. There was just that moment where I'm just like, man, I can't believe it's already over. So it goes by really fast, but it is an incredible time. So, I have an announcement to wrap up our podcast episode today. So moving forward, there will be a new podcast host, and I'm very excited for them to take over the Mind, Body, and Gaming podcast that we've been putting on for you guys. I'm so sorry that I will not be continuing it. Maybe I'll pop up for a few episodes here and there. But I am not just the podcast director for Lotus 8, but also the content creator lead. And I'm also a co owner of Lotus 8 Esports, and I'm planning a wedding, and I am a content creator of my own. And so just trying to find my way with balancing my time online and offline. I feel like there's a lot on my plate. And so this is just something that I'm having to step back on. But you guys are going to be in great hands because our next podcast director is definitely going to bring the energy to this podcast, and I'm just very excited for you guys to get to experience these podcast episodes with them. Now, Murtagb, thank you so much for being my very last guest on this podcast. It was very nice to have you on, especially to reminisce about our time at GameCon Canada. So, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Would you like to tell us where we can find you and your content?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. It's been really great, and we're all sad to see you go from your role here on the podcast. But I know the next host will do justice. So that's really great. Yeah. So I'm Murtagb. You can find me on pretty much every platform under the name Murtagb. Primarily Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. Come check me out. Come say hi. Let's vibe. And yeah, that's where you'll find me.
All right. Thank you so much, Murtagb, and thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Mind, Body, and Gaming, the Lotus 8 podcast. We will catch you guys next time. Bye.